Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Filipino Genealogy channel. Today's episode is a continuation to the Genealogy 101 discussion on understanding Spanish period records, specifically baptismal records. For today's episode, we will look into the evolution of matrimonial records from the Spanish period and examine what information we can get from these. In a previous episode in this channel, we explored the evolution of baptismal records over the centuries. From very short and simple entries, these records grew to include fuller information about the child baptized. Other than baptismal records, a good source for genealogical research are matrimonial records. And just like baptismal records, matrimonial records changed over the centuries. And just like baptismal and other canonical records that were available early in Spanish colonization and evangelization, many of these records no longer exist. Due to natural and man-made calamities over the centuries, the earliest records of many churches in the Philippines have been lost forever. In the earliest matrimonial records, only the basic information was given. The date of the marriage, the day, month, and year given. The name of the groom and bride, of course. The name of the sponsor, or sponsors. And, finally, the name of the parish, or officiating, priest. In many parishes in the early to around the mid-1700s, aside from the usual information seen in the 1600s, the name of the parish was also added. In the late 1700s, a few more information was added. The civil status of the bride and groom was included. The names of the parents of both bride and groom were also added. And, finally, the name of the cabeza of the barangay. Let it be known that while this was ideal, not all parish records were written down like this. In some areas, there were more information, while in others fewer. In 1868, the central government imposed a more uniform format on the system of spiritual registration. As detailed in Michael Cullinan's Accounting for Souls, Ecclesiastical Sources for Studying Philippine Demographic History, Governor-General Jose de la Gondara issued a decree, on January 11, 1868, requiring the use of a standard format for all entries in the parish registers. These new regulations increased substantially the content of entries for vital event registration, as well as reiterating the demand that the parish registers be well protected, that no abbreviations or numerals be used, and that the priests take special care to obtain the correct information at the time the sacrament was administered. As seen in this record, the matrimonial entries from 1868 became even more complete. As seen here, the standard template sent to all parishes contained all the previous details already mentioned in the previous record shown, as well as the following additional information. The groom's race, age, marital status, widow of whoever, and his occupation. Also the groom's and bride's parents' race, age, place of birth, occupation. The witness's race, place of birth, and occupation. And, finally, the name, race, and place of birth of two witnesses for the parish, the fiscal and the sacristan mayor. Later records, even until the end of Spanish rule, contained more or less the same information, although in some parishes some information, like occupation, were omitted. Some parishes continued this template, albeit in an abbreviated version, even until the end of the first quarter of the 20th century. Thank you for watching this episode. We hope you learned something new, and enjoyed this video. Catch another video in this channel in the coming days. We would also love to hear suggestions from you on what genealogy topics you want discussed and presented. Always stay safe and enjoy your day.